Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. What's in the box today? There's the box, and in the box there's a book. It's blue, primarily. It's called Katie in Scotland Celebrates Scotland. It's by James Mayhew. There's Katie, I guess, waving a Scottish flag, wearing some sort of tartan, Scottish-looking socks. And there's even lots of thistles here. And there's a Scottish St Andrew's cross here. Not sure if that's called a saltire or not. So looking very Scottish today, Katie. And there's someone playing the bagpipes here. There you go. Let's see how we get on. This is a series, by the way, the Katie. It's Katie. There's one, the various Katies, so we'll see. This is the first one I'm covering on this channel, though. Katie was on holiday in Scotland with her grandma and her brother Jack. Today they were visiting Loch Ness. It's a famous Scottish lake. Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster? Asked Katie. There's no such thing as monsters, laughed Jack. He didn't notice the bubbles in the water. Wow. Seems Loch Ness Monster is in this book. A large green creature appeared and said, No such thing as monsters, of course there are. Are you the Loch Ness Monster? Asked Jack. Yes, call me Nessie, she laughed. Now, what brings you to Scotland? We're on holiday, said Katie. You lucky things, sighed Nessie. I'd love to go on holiday. You could come with us, suggested Katie. Where would you like to go? The Edinburgh Festival, cried Nessie, to see a show. That's a famous festival in Edinburgh. Fortunately, Grandma was the sort of grandma who liked an adventure, so they set off at once. In a lot of these ones, the grandma has a little nap, but she's joining in the adventure this time. Nessie set off at once. Nessie gave everyone a ride through lochs and rivers to the nearest station. Okay, when they reached the station, the train driver was very excited. What an honour to meet you, he said to Nessie, but Nessie was too big to get on the train. Oh dear, she said, how will we get to Edinburgh? I guess Nessie would have to actually get up on top of the train, because Nessie doesn't fit in the train, which is what people normally call on the train. Don't worry, said the station manager. We've got an old goods train, which should be perfect. We'll call it the Nessie Express, said the train driver. All aboard. Good. There's Nessie, yeah, so like on the freight train. On the Nessie Express. Didn't say what station it was. I don't really know the geography well enough to know where they've likely gone and how long it's going to take them to get to Edinburgh. Soon they were on their way, rattling past mountains and forests. It was a beautiful journey. Going over a nice stone bridge there. At last, the train came to a big city called Glasgow. This was going to Edinburgh. The train driver told them about a wonderful museum called Kelvin Grove. It sounded perfect for a small trip, so they decided to go and look round. Nessie was very pleased to find the bones of a long-lost relative inside. Looks like a dinosaur, so they're suggesting that Nessie is related to the dinosaurs. Seems plausible. They haven't made it clear exactly which dinosaur it is. Afterwards, they relaxed in Kelvin Grove Park, where Nessie paddled in the river until it was time to get back on the train. Paddling is normally what you call it when you take your shoes off, roll up your trousers. But Nessie, I don't know, Nessie's got feet. It seems to have some sort of flippery things, but it seems to be able to survive on land. It seems to be an amphibious monster. So I guess it's able to paddle. They've had a nice picnic there. Nice. The train took them all the way to Edinburgh. By the time they arrived, it was getting dark. It's dark. There's a picture of a dark Edinburgh. It's presumably Edinburgh Castle here. It's quite famous. and some other old buildings. Let's find somewhere to spend the night, said Grandma. Hotel, maybe? They found a grand hotel. Got it. But Nessie said she preferred to stay outside. I always sleep under the stars, she said. From the hotel window, Kate and Jack saw her curled up in a leafy park. Good night, Nessie, they whispered. See you tomorrow. I'm not sure if that's a specific hotel, if there's a famous Edinburgh hotel with a park outside. I don't know. The next day, they walked down a street called the Royal Mile. Look, it's Nessie, people shouted. Are you performing at the festival? Go on, Nessie, said Katie. Why don't you put on a show tonight? Oh, all right, just this once, said Nessie. Hooray, cheered the crowd. There's someone with an unbelievably large foot. It's a stilt walker, but I don't know if it's meant to be that big or if the perspective's just a bit... It's almost like a fisheye camera. I've never been to the Edinburgh Festival, but I guess it's pretty much like this. They set off to explore the city until it was time for the show. First, they came to a grand royal residence called Holyrood Palace. How lovely, said Nessie. Imagine living here. But there's nowhere for you to swim, said Katie. That's true, said Nessie. A loch is better than a palace. Well, for an aquatic animal. I guess some palaces have lakes or pools, but Nessie needs a rather large one. Next, they found a statue of a small dog called Greyfriars Bobby. It says he was a very faithful pet, said Jack, reading the sign. I bet you'd be a faithful pet, Katie said to Nessie. I would indeed, smiled Nessie. But where would you keep me? In the bath, said Katie, laughing. Come on, let's go to the castle. At last they reached the top of the hill where the castle stood. The other visitors were very excited to see Nessie. There's going to be a Nessie show tonight, said Katie. Don't forget to come along. Did they say they were going up the hill? I can't remember. I said they set off to explore the city. They didn't really say that they were aiming to go up the hill. Just wondering why it says at last they reached the top of the hill. So they've been struggling up it for some time. Suddenly there was a loud boom. Goodness me, what was that? Cried Nessie. A 1 o'clock gun, said a guardsman. We fire it every day except Sundays, so sailors at sea know what the time is. Well, they know that the time is 1. Yeah. It's a 1 o'clock gun. I guess sailors on Sundays have to take pocket watches with them. Well, I think it's time for lunch, said Grandma, unpacking a picnic. It's the second picnic they've had. She'd even brought some Scottish shortbread as a special treat. My favourite, gasped Nessie. They sat beside a piper. That's a bagpiper, not a pied piper. And listened to his bagpipes while they ate. You actually don't need to sit next to a bagpiper to listen to the bagpipes because they're unbelievably loud. So that would actually probably not be a very pleasant picnic with a bagpiper standing right there. But they seem to be enjoying themselves. Scottish shortbread. I mean, they're putting in a lot of these. I mean, some things it's like tourist marketing, I guess. I don't know if they're sponsored by the Scottish Tourist Board. But, you know, mentioning famous landmarks like Loch Ness and the Royal Mile, Edinburgh Castle, Holyrood Palace, things like that. And some of it is just throwing typical Scottish things at you, like bagpipers and shortbread. Yeah, this kind of thing fairly often, actually. On their way down from the castle, Nessie saw a big art gallery. Oh, they like art galleries in the Katie books. I wonder if they have any pictures of me, she asked, sticking her nose through the door. But Katie couldn't see any. You'll be needing the portrait gallery, said a warder. Portraits, normally paintings of people, so that's a bit of a joke that Nessie would look in the portrait gallery for a painting of herself, as she's a fictional monster rather than a person. But there were no pictures of Nessie in the portrait gallery either. Well, that's to be expected. Never mind, Nessie, said Katie. It's nearly time for the show. Oh, yes, said Nessie. How exciting. I don't know if Nessie's written her bit. She's doing a stand-up. She may just kind of freestyle it. Improv. But it's good to prepare even if you're doing improv, I think. Unless you're very experienced. Outside, the crowds were already gathering. Nessie taught Katie and Jack some Scottish dances. They're not showing them dancing in a Scottish way. Soon they were ready for their performance. I'm a bit nervous, said Nessie. Don't worry, it'll be wonderful, said Katie. And it was wonderful. Wearing splendid tartan kilts, they performed in an open-air theatre. Nessie opened the show with some Highland games. There's Nessie tossing a caber, which is one of the Highland game events. She even tossed a caber, there you go. Well, everyone clapped and cheered. You get a lot of Scottish flags. There's someone just waving a Scottish flag. Lots of very big Scotland fans. I don't know if there's a Scottish flag on every page. There's one on the previous page. We see. There's one there. There isn't one there. So no, it's not one of these to find the flag on every page books. Yeah. Oh, that looks like Scottish dancing. For a grand finale, Nessie sang old Scottish songs while Katie, Jack and Grandma danced the Highland Fling. That'll be what they're doing there. Everyone said it was the best show at the whole of the Edinburgh Festival. I don't know where they've learned these dances if they're on holiday in Scotland, because they're not of Scottish heritage, I don't think. But maybe they have been practicing in between pages. No, and they got good reviews, and they got 3 bagpipers. Afterwards, Katie said, I've got a surprise for you, Nessie. It was a portrait she had drawn all by herself. I'm going to give it to the portrait gallery, she said. Then they'll have a picture of you for everyone to see. It's perfect, said Nessie. Thank you, Katie. It's, well, it's a child's drawing of the Loch Ness Monster. I don't know if they would put that in the portrait gallery. Grandma said it was getting late. I mean, because it's not even a proper portrait. Portraits normally people, and also it's a child's drawing rather than something of great, well, you know, it's not what you would traditionally call a wonderful work of art to be displayed in a public gallery. It's fine, but it's a child's drawing. Grandma said it was getting late, they needed to catch their train. I was pretty sure they were chartering the train. I didn't know it was running according to a timetable. It's time for us to get you back to your loch, she said. They set off on the Nessie Express. They went over a huge bridge. That may be reference to a specific bridge. I don't know, Forth Bridge or something. One of these big bridges. I guess that's in Scotland. They went over a huge bridge and trundled off through the night to the end of the line, where they said goodbye to the train driver. By the time they reached Loch Ness, it was very late. The scent of heather filled the air, and the moon hung low in the sky. The moon sets at the end of the night, does it? So it's almost morning. Do you believe in monsters now? Asked Nessie. Definitely, laughed Jack. And we always will, said Katie. Goodbye, Nessie. And they all waved as Nessie slipped into the dark waters of the loch and swam out of sight. Well, there you go. That's not like most Katie books, where normally she goes to an art gallery and interacts with lots of paintings. Here she has gone around Scotland. But that's okay. Yeah, it's just quite nice. Like, there's not really a lot of books, any kind of drama, really, have something go like a bit wrong, and then there's like some sort of disaster that needs solving, people panic, problem needs resolving, whereas here they just like go around Scotland. So it's not that exciting, I guess. Like, you never get worried that Nessie's show is going to be a complete disaster or anything. Yes, very conflict free, that one. Everyone's happy, Grandma doesn't even fall asleep, they have nice picnics. I guess it might be a bit more interesting with a bit more conflict, but they didn't include it. If you would like another Katie book, maybe one of the more normal, normal books from the series, where she interacts with lots of paintings, then do let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you next time for another book review. Bye bye.